Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today we're doing the What's Next on former lightweight champion of the world, Richard Commey. He returned to action on Saturday, August 27th in the main event of an ESPN card when he took on former two-division champion Jose Pedraza. This was a good, entertaining battle. Really could have went either way. They went back and forth at each other. It was Commey's debut at 140. And the fight ended up being a 10-round draw. I still don't understand why two former champions who've been in plenty of 12-rounders had to have to fight when they're both top 10 guys, have to fight a 10-round fight instead of a 12-round fight. But, you know, nonetheless, they did. The fight went to the scorecards and came up a draw. Now, Commey was putting the pressure on. He was landing good, hard shots. But Pedraza was landing equally good shots and was boxing well. He's moving well. And, you know, I just think, you know, I picked Commey originally to win the fight. But I think he had to get, you know, adjusted to the weight. And I think that did affect him. And, you know, but don't take nothing away from Pedraza. He's always a good, solid opponent. So, neither guy has anything to shake their, you know, to put their head down about it. They're both still in the mix, and they're both with the best, at 140, they're with the best promotion, which is Top Rank. It has the most eligible fighters. So let's run through the top 10 and see what possibly could be next for the former lightweight champion, Richard Commey, following his draw with Pedraza. Now, we'll start with the undefeated WBO champion, Josh Taylor. Not likely. Taylor is going to be facing off against Catterall in a rematch. After that, I highly doubt if Taylor even stays at 147. I highly doubt he's going to take on a guy like Commey, who's a dangerous opponent. And he's a guy that really is not on the same wavelength right now with Taylor in terms of star power. Taylor's going to take guys that make sense, and Commey just doesn't make sense. You know, for him, he's a dangerous former world champion with power. Why fight Commey next? It's not to say it's completely out of the realm of possibility. I just don't see it happening with all the better options that Taylor's going to have after he potentially beats Catterall in their rematch. Next, Teofimo Lopez, which would be a rematch for Commey. Lopez made his debut at 140. I just don't think I think Lopez has a bunch of other options that he hasn't already defeated. Lopez defeated Commey by a second-round knockout. What's the point in fighting him again? It really doesn't, it really, all it does is take the risk of losing or not looking as good. And he already finished Commey off in 2 rounds, so it wouldn't enhance his career and his growth at 140 pounds. So no, I don't see that one. Then you got former unified champ Jose Ramirez. I don't see it. Ramirez is waiting in line for the winner of Zepeda and Prograis. They are locking horns for the vacant WBC title later on this year. We're waiting for a date to be confirmed. And Ramirez gets to fight the winner of them. So I don't think in the interim, even if Ramirez fights like a stay busy fight, I don't think he's going to want to take the risk against a guy like Commey, which will put him through a war, and it's going to be a good battle right there. So maybe Ramirez would say, fuck it, I'm fully convinced I can beat Commey, but I don't know if he's going to want to take the risk ahead of a guaranteed title shot against the winner of Zepeda and Prograis. So I'm not seeing that one, but again, because they're both at Top Rank and Ramirez might have the time in between while he waits around for Zepeda and Prograis, he might just say fuck it and fight a guy like Commey. So I think it's less than likely, but it's definitely a possibility still. Then you got Regis Prograis again. Prograis, if he beats Zepeda, he's going to have to fight Ramirez. So I don't see Commey being in that picture for him. You got Jack Catterall, the former world title challenger. He's fighting Josh Taylor next. Even if he were to beat Taylor, I don't think he'd fight a guy he'd have too many better options, bigger names. I don't think he'd fight a guy like Commey. And if he loses, he's not going to cross the street to fight a guy who's in a different promotion, coming off of 2 straight losses. So I'm not seeing this one. Gary Antoine Russell, he's with the PBC. They're not going to cross the street to make this fight happen. There's not a demand for it. Sandor Martin, former world, former or contender right now. He's a DAZN guy for all intents and purposes. I don't see Top Rank, unless Top Rank can get him to come over, fighting a guy like Commey. So I'm going to say, I'm going to axe that one and say not likely. Then you got Victor Postol, former champ. If Postol and Commey, this is another like similar fight to the Pedraza fight. If they wanted to do a clash of former champs, I think this one is a good option right here. But I'm less than likely believe that that's going to happen. Then you got, let me see here. Then you got rematch with Jose Pedraza. I absolutely think a rematch is possible, and maybe it's likely. But I also am leaving the door open that Teofimo Lopez might swing in and take on Pedraza. He's already beaten Commey. Pedraza's a seasoned veteran. He might take him on. So we'll see about that. And then Montana Love, he fights for DAZN and Matchroom. Kind of a bad matchup. Not seeing that one with Commey. Other possibilities are Arnold Barboza Jr. If Teofimo Lopez swings in and grabs a hold and grabs the Pedraza fight instead of Commey being able to fight him in a rematch, Barboza is a guy that wants to make a name for himself, and he fights for Top Rank. He's an undefeated fighter. I think Barboza would absolutely jump at the option of fighting a former champ like Richard Commey. It would be the biggest win of his career if he could beat Commey, and it gives Commey the opportunity against a guy who's on the rise. It's kind of where Comey's been, you know. People always want to see an undefeated fighter go against a former champ like this, and Commey could fill that role. So Commey, as of right now, you know, title shot's not in the mix. I think a rematch with Pedraza could be there, and a win, if he were to beat Pedraza in a rematch, he could go straight into, you know, maybe straight into a title shot, or at least into another eliminator. Keeps him in the mix, keeps him solid in the top 10 of a very loaded division. But also, I really believe that a Barboza fight is there. So it really is dependent on what Teofimo Lopez wants to do next, in my opinion. I think Lopez is gearing up for a showdown with Josh Taylor. And if he can, but that's not going to be till next year. So I think Lopez is going to try to come back by the end of the year, early 2023, while he waits around for a showdown with Taylor. And he's going to want to get, get another win under his belt, and this time against a top 10 guy, or at least an undefeated prospect. If he chooses Pedraza, then that leaves the door for Commey and Barboza. If he chooses Barboza, then that leaves the door open for a rematch between Pedraza and Commey. So I really believe it's going to be either a rematch with Pedraza or a showdown with Arnold Barboza next for Richard Commey. And again, I'm just glad he did not walk away with a loss in that fight against Pedraza. So that's it. That's what I got. That's the what's next on Richard Commey, the former lightweight champion. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.